Hello everyone and welcome to the Utopia of Nerd News. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Adam.
And today we have some awesome news like we always do every weekend on Saturdays. So let's get started. Let's get into gaming.
So a first little thing from gaming news is a game that came out for the consoles, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, which is not a word by the way. Has had its PC version announced here today, actually.
Oh.
So, good for you PC gamers. If you remember, Xbox has been toying with different names, and different names keep coming out.
Yes.
But it seems like we have a strong first contender right now. It's still not official, but it seems to be the strongest candidate, which is Xbox Infinity. Any thoughts on that title?
I'm not against it. I mean, it kind of sounds cool. It's better than Xbox 720 or whatever else they came up with, or the Xbox, which would get confused, like we said. It sounds okay, as long as they don't put bad stuff into it.
Now we've got two pretty big gaming related pieces of news here. One of them's really good, and one of them's really bad. The first one is the not so good one. Nintendo has just decided that, probably in the most cold-hardened business fashion, that they were going to screw over their people on YouTube. What Nintendo has decided to do is everybody that has any kind of monetization on their Nintendo-related games, that they're not going to take down the videos, but they're going to push their legal rights to take the money from the monetization that other people put in if they show more than about a minute of Mario, Donkey Kong, Zelda footage. Which has caused quite the fight on the internet over the last couple days between Nintendo and the Nintendo Let's Players and all of their fans. Because they're trying to take all their work that they put into making those and make it so it's their money, when Nintendo doesn't need it. They have over $15 billion in their company.
Wow.
And they didn't do this in a way, like they didn't contact the people. The people who are having this happen, this is happening to some pretty popular people. So it's not just the little people that aren't connected with Machinima or TGS. They did it in a way where basically they got a message from YouTube services saying that all your stuff will go to Nintendo now.
Oh my gosh.
So obviously you can see where there's a lot of fighting going back and forth. Some people that hate that Let's Players or reviewers or walkthrough people, whatever your content is, they hate that they make money off their work. And they, in a kind of a spiteful way, they kind of are good. They don't deserve to make any of that. They should be doing it because they love the games or whatever. So that's kind of some of those people, and obviously on the other side, people that want to still see the content. But if you take away the money resource, then obviously the amount of time and because these things are very expensive.
Oh yeah.
And very time consuming.
Yep.
It takes a lot of resource. Anybody, we've kind of started doing this so we can understand it a little bit.
Yep.
Anyone who's gone into making videos, it's not easy.
No, it's not. I mean, there's like we said, the time process of editing and actually filming, and then sometimes people do costumes like some YouTubers out there, and that costs money. I mean, some people actually extravagant and take it all out, and it takes so much time and so much money at times, and it's just yeah, I understand. You should do it because you love the game, but because it takes time and money and a process, it's nice to get that little bit of income with it.
And if you remember from a few weeks back, Nintendo had said something, or they basically said that they weren't bothering with E3 and stuff. They were doing their own little controlled things.
Uh-huh.
This has almost become part of it too, because in their statement, this isn't a direct quote or anything, but they said something along the lines of them wanting to control the way their games were being presented. So it almost seems kind of like a weird power play on them trying to be like, so every little bit of info that comes out on our games, we are controlling. It kind of takes away people's thought process, trying to control reviewers or things like that, it seems kind of sleazy. And I'm not saying this is all of Nintendo as a whole, but the people that they put onto this, it's pretty messed up. It really, that's the way it comes off to me. So in the other better news in the gaming world, hell just froze over.
What?
Hell just froze over. EA came out and they did something good in a press conference. They said they will discontinue online passes.
Sweet.
Which is huge news. This is obviously their first step in their back-to-back years on winning the fan vote for the worst company in America. This is clearly them trying to turn it around some because they're getting so much bad PR after SimCity and all that. For those who don't know exactly what online passes are, it's the things that make it so if you want to play Battlefield or Mass Effect or any of the games online, you have to either buy the game brand new or you have to purchase the online pass. Mm-hmm. That's what that is. It basically makes it so you can play the games that you already purchased online. So that is no longer a thing. They've said they got rid of it, which is actually pretty interesting because over their first year with online passes, they registered or reported like $10 to $15 million more because of that, but they still decided to go back on it. So
that's good, EA. Proud of you.
Golf clap. So moving on to movies now.
Alrighty.
The first little thing is Iron Man 3 has broke $1 billion worldwide.
Jeez.
That's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money.
And more little, I guess, Iron Man related news. Joss Whedon said that Iron Man will return for Avengers 2, and he confirmed that the twins, he had mentioned, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver were indeed the twins, and they will be in it. But he's not the guy he's not Kevin Feige, who's actually the one, kind of negotiating with Robert Downey Jr. over Iron Man and that whole mess over there.
Yeah.
My thought is, personally, I think that he came out and said that Iron Man will return as kind of his way to put his little thing in there. Because obviously he as the creator of the universe right now, he's the one putting it all together. He wants Iron Man back.
Yeah.
And I think this is his way of basically being like, Marvel, get your stuff together.
Yeah.
I need Iron Man for Avengers 2. He's extremely popular and a very important character. To some degree, even if it's not a huge role, he needs something with it, right? I think that's his little thing. Just pay the guys. Just pay them all.
Come on. Just do it.
Right. And he also said with Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver something along the lines of how they're going to have a very different perspective of the world, and they're not going to be there to make it easier on the Avengers, and he wouldn't put any characters that would make it easier on them. Because a lot of people were questioning whether they should put Scarlet Witch in, because she's such an all-powerful being. She's probably the most powerful female comic book hero, Marvel or DC. So I think that was maybe his retort to those people. We don't know exactly what they're going to be doing in it or anything like that. They might even be villains or kind of like anti-heroes. They've already said they're going to be younger, like upper teens maybe. So maybe they'll be emotional wrecks. Who knows? But more speculation from Marvel because they're the best. And a fun little interesting thing. Christopher Nolan was offered either James Bond 24 or 25. So if he accepts, Christopher Nolan doing James Bond. I'm cool with it because I like James Bond and I like Christopher Nolan, but he needs to focus on Interstellar. In another little thing, there's a little movie you may have heard of from years past, a movie that goes by the name of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Oh gosh.
Well, the sequel's underway.
Oh my goodness, how many years has
Yes.
that been since?
I don't know, but I loved the first one, so I'm okay with it. They're even getting the actors back.
That's cool.
Alright, so, you want to talk about some trailers?
I want to talk about some
We've got
trailers.
some trailers. The first one is the Pacific Rim trailer.
Ah! So excited.
This movie looks fun, doesn't it?
It does.
Like, that is the perfect word to describe this movie. It looks fun. And we know it has a great director. It's got some good acting in it. It looks fun. It looks like kind of like Transformers if it wasn't stupid and campy. Mixed with Godzilla if it wasn't stupid and campy. And then they have maybe the best director ever at doing weird, obscure things and making them seem really cool.
What he's good at.
Exactly. This movie just looks so much fun.
It
like,
does.
the robots aren't, like, super fast. They're not like Transformers where they're doing, like, triple backflips and stuff, and you're like, what?
Well, and they have people in them, too.
Right,
yeah.
and they feel like robots. You know, they're kind of boom, boom. You know, they're not super slow. They're not rock'em sock'em robots, but if you're fighting giant monsters, this is probably a good thing.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this. I hope it does really well. I don't think it'll do super well because it's such a weird thing and so many people will be like, what?
What is going on?
But for nerdy people like myself...
And me.
This movie looks amazing.
It does.
Another movie, Riddick. What were your thoughts?
Well, I've never seen the original, so originals. So I, from my speculation of not seeing the original, it looks quite cool. It looks pretty interesting. It has Starbuck. I don't know the actress's name from Battlestar Galactica, but I do enjoy her acting. So
It also has Drax.
Yes, I'm excited for it. Even though I've never seen the originals, but it'd be cool to see it.
For me, as I have seen both other movies, and I knew this was coming out for a while now, and I was really not looking forward to it. I just felt like it was a series that should pass on. I was a big fan of Pitch Black. Chronicles Riddick was just kind of like a fun action-y movie, but it felt like that was the end. It had a very definitive ending where he's got the most powerful army in the galaxy under his control kind of a thing. And it looks like they just completely threw that by the wayside because he's back to being what he was in Pitch Black, which actually has excited me a little bit. It's at least intrigued or piqued my interest. Because I like Pitch Black more than I like Chronicles of Riddick, and this one seems to be going back to the original formula a bit more, with him as the kind of masked serial killer guy who can see in the darkness, and there's mercenaries coming after him, and then the monsters come out in the darkness and they start killing people. It does actually look pretty good. It looks pretty good, surprisingly good. I'm pretty happy about that. Like I said, wasn't looking too forward to it.
Right.
So now we've got a couple TV trailers to talk about.
All right.
The first one, Marvel's The Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Joss Whedon's new project. It looks fun, doesn't it?
It does!
I mean, the writing. We know the writing was going to be good with Joss and Jed Whedon.
Oh, yes, of course.
But the writing looks really good. Really good comedic timing. It's got some interesting parts to it. We know this is going to be, a longer TV series. So they really don't go too far into it, kind of spoiling what it's all going to be about. I think all that they showed was going to be off the pilot episode, which makes sense because that's already filmed. Mm-hmm. It looks fun.
Yeah, it really does. Like he was saying, there's some comedic things even in the trailer. I mean, sometimes you don't get that, but yes, it looks fun. It looks interesting. It looks awesome. I mean, come on, it's Marvel S.H.I.E.L.D. Hello.
I'm just hoping we get some superheroes. Like you mentioned, they could throw in Daredevil, since they got him back. They could throw in someone like Punisher. Mm-hmm. People that are low CGI, not for permanent people, but like when they need people to bring in for sweeps or something like that.
Like
it'd be fun, or two. And it would be fun because we know those guys aren't going to be getting their own Marvel movie in this section of the Avengers.
Yes.
So it'd be kind of cool to give them some TV show love, just to acknowledge that the characters exist.
Yes.
That'd be kind of cool.
It would.
At least for us as fans.
Yes.
And in my last little thing, let's talk about Sleepy Hollow from Fox.
Sleepy Hollow from Fox. What do I even say about this? It's another cop show.
Yeah. When I was watching it, at first I was like, oh, that seems kind of interesting. Mm-hmm. Then I'm watching it, I'm like, wait. Did they just throw cops into this? They did it again. Every show on Fox, NBC, ABC, they just throw cops in to throw cops in for no reason. It kind of holds Grimm back from being a better show than it should be. I can already feel that it's kind of infected it. It's got the taint of the alphabet soups.
They could have left. I mean, they could have left without it.
There's no need to have the cop aspect to it. And that line at the end, it was so corny. It was bad. The cops putting their guns to the back of the Headless Horseman because this is in a modern time, and being like, put your hands on your head with the headless horseman. Then he just turns around and shoots him with like this, basically, with an assault rifle. That's what it looked like. It looked pretty lame. I'm not gonna lie.
I agree.
And then they threw in this like national treasure kind of
with George Washington stuff,
yeah,
the dollar bill. And
yeah, it's, I don't know. And part of the problem is, you know, it's gonna have to be a season to season thing, so they're never gonna really get to a whole lot.
Yep.
They're gonna do little bits here and there, and then they're gonna have filler episodes with all the cop stuff. We know this formula. This formula has been done for years and years and years. It's completely unoriginal. They take what might be a decent plot and then they throw in all that stuff.
Yep.
So, we'll stop. We'll stop. This is something I loathe, so we will stop. And I will let you do your anime thing.
Okay, woo! No cop stuff over here. So, there's some interesting, very cool news stuff going on. Tenchi Muyo War on Gemini, Part 1 and Part 2, and also Part 1 combo alternative, I'm guessing, is coming out on Tuesday,
Woo.
May 21st. It has Kenshi and space and stuff.
And the guys from Samurai Champloo.
No. It is going to be out on Blu-ray and DVD. And if you are not familiar with Tenchi Muyo has several different spin-offs of the original, which would be Tenchi Muyo Ryoki, and which was an OVA, which they just have so many spin-offs of it. I mean, there's Tenchi Muyo Universe, Tenchi Muyo GXP, and this one, Tenchi Muyo War on Gemini, and then, you know, there's also the Magical Sammy, I think is kind of what it's called, with Sasami. But anyway. So yeah, that's really exciting stuff for, you know, your Tenchi Muyo fans who love the spin-offs of the show. My personal favorite was Tenchi Muyo Ryoki, which they should redo. Just modern day it a little bit, like modern graphics. There we go. Stuff like that. So anyway, next on the list for the anime news, there are a couple animes, actually 3 animes coming out, and they're going to be English dubbed. So that's really cool. The first one that is going to be English dubbed is called Lupin the Third. The woman called Fujiko Mine, I think is the last name. I could be wrong. Anyway.
What's your excitement level for this?
I'm not very excited because it is an older anime.
Yes,
but,
very old.
Yes. I'm not a total fan of the artwork style. It seemed kind of a weird plot for me. What it's kind of about is she's whatever you need her to be to get the job done. She takes everything just because she can, and it's all in a night's work for the woman called Fujiko. She's the slinky, sultry thread that holds Lupin the Third's crew together, and this is the heist that started it all.
Oh, so it's like an origin story for her almost.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, that's cool for the fans of that. It's like you, I never really watched the show.
Yeah, I've never.
So
really
it's hard for me to feel anything really good or bad. I'm just kind of like, all right, cool for people who like it.
Same here. I'm not a huge fan of the art style, but you know. But congratulations to Lupin the Third fans. You're getting something English dubbed.
And what else do you have for us?
And what else is on my news? Before I get to the big one.
The big one.
Michiko and Hatchin is going to also be English dubbed. It is from the creators of Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo.
Oh, hey, I didn't even know that was going to get brought up when I said that.
It's turn squealing tires and wailing sirens into an art form into the south of the border adventures of Michiko and Hatchin.
I'm excited for this because those are both awesome animes. I've never heard of that, but I'm a fan of Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo. I love both of their art styles as well as the characters and the story in both of those shows. Mm-hmm. So it sounds like it's got a pretty solid crew making it. I can't wait for you to give me more details on it later.
Yeah. And also, you know, with the next one I'm going to mention, and this last one I talked about, there are some voice actors that are well known that do some of the voices, which is really cool. So, for you Eureka 7 fans, this is exciting. They're coming out with a sequel to Eureka 7. It's called Eureka 7 AO, which AO stands for Astral Oceans. And so, there are, like I was saying, some recognizable voices. If you are familiar with the anime Soul Eater.
Nope, never heard of it.
The voice of Soul, which is Micah Solusad, he is doing AO. And then Todd Habercorn, which he was Kid, he is also doing a voice in it, which is really cool. And then there's some other voices I heard. In the trailer, there was a voice from School Rumble. I'm not quite sure if he's in it or if he's just doing the trailer. But, you know, it's really cool to hear those voices like I was saying. But this one is the electrifying successor to the mecha epic Eureka 7. Propels you through intense, eye-popping action in the sky, sea, and space, one battle at a time.
What it looks like, because I'm not too familiar with the actual details on it, it looks like it's written in Aoeka's Kid. It looks like basically written. It's kind of sounds like him a little bit. But it has Aoeka's hair, and he mentions his mom. So that would be my assumption as far as that goes. As far as the voice actors you mentioned, the first one, the one who did Soul.
Yes.
You know, I'm not a big fan.
I know.
He's not great at making you feel all the moments. Whatever. So that was a little bit disappointing when you just said that. And as far as Todd Abercrombie and Fitch, I'm excited for that because he's awesome.
Yes.
Death the Kid's like the best character in Soul Eater, and he's an awesome job. His timing is really good. That's good news.
But yes, so very exciting for, you know, the Eureka 7 people. I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong. I have not seen the original show. It's on my to-watch list.
I have.
So yeah, I'm really excited.
It's a good show. It's got some... It starts off kind of light, but then it gets kind of heavy.
That's cool.
And it's in a good way. It doesn't just get bad like some do.
But yes, for the English dub of Lupin the Third, it is going to be available July 30th. Which is really cool. There's all this anime news coming out because of the anime conventions that are going on now. So, for you Eureka 7 people, Part 1 is coming out August 13th, so be alert. And then Part 2 will come out October 15th of this year.
Oh, wow.
So it's really cool. Interesting that they did them in parts, but that's cool.
That's becoming the thing, because they did that for Persona 4, the animation, too. I prefer just waiting for the complete series box.
Yeah.
Because then you just have it all in one box.
Then you don't have to sit and wait.
Well, that and they, like, have the Part 1 and Part 2s, like, full price. They're, like, $40. Mm-hmm. 30, 40, depending on what show. It's like, do you really want to spend all that for half of it? Like, it's not like a season-by-season base on, like, a premium network TV show, like a GOT, for instance. With Game of Thrones, they have so much work and money. Like, one season of Game of Thrones is whatever the most expensive anime cost times 100 for one season.
Yeah.
It's not quite the same.
Anime's a little pricey. Sometimes.
Right.
So, like I was saying, I think it was either last weekend or a couple weeks ago, Studio Ghibli, their movie Poppy Hill, it has now reached a total of $897,113 in the U.S.
Cool.
It's in its 9th weekend, so that's really cool that it's accumulated more money. So it's really exciting. And in more Studio Ghibli news, My Neighbor Totoro and Howl's Moving Castle will be out on Blu-ray combo packs May 21st.
Very cool.
Yes.
Pick up Howl's Moving Castle if you haven't seen it. It's one of the best anime movies ever.
And My Neighbor Totoro. I just recently watched it. I fell in love with it. Oh my gosh, it was so adorable. It was sad at moments, but it's one of those that it, you know...
Is it as good as Howl's? That's the big question.
It's
wait for the review.
It's hard. It goes up on Tuesday. My
yeah,
Neighbor
you should.
Totoro and Howl's Moving Castle.
Do it.
They're amazing.
Do it. So.
Moving on from anime news into book news, there's some interesting books coming out. Nothing too big, really, on the list. But for you D&D fans,
Dungeons and Dragons.
it's definitely a Dungeons and Dragons book fiasco going on Tuesday. Not really books per se, they're more rule books and stuff. So, they're coming out.
They always have new rule
the
books
premium
for those.
second edition is coming out for the advanced stuff. Guides and rule books. There's like 3 of them coming out, like a master's one and then some other ones. So,
right. Are we going to pick them up and start playing?
Oh, no. So, another book that is coming out, it's coming out May 23rd. It is called The Fall of Arthur, and it's by J.J.R. Tolkien and his son, Christopher Tolkien. It's one of the most skillful achievement in use of Old English. It's associated with the text of the poem, and there are many manuscript pages. I'm not quite sure if it's going to be a poem or if, he has some notes in there, because I know it was one of those that he never finished. This is like back in like the 1930s, I believe. Before he wrote The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings, he was working on this, and it never finished, and he ended up dying before he was even able to finish it. So his son took up, I'm guessing, some of the work. So, for you J.R.R. Tolkien fans, that's really cool. Maybe take a look at it.
That is cool.
So, my last piece of book news, the last one is Star Trek Into Darkness, which the movie just came out.
Yes, it did, and you're going to have to wait for a review.
You will. So Star Trek Into Darkness is coming out May 21st. It's by Alan Dean Foster. He has done a lot of books, but this takes place months after the dramatic events seen in the 2009 blockbuster film Star Trek. So, obviously, kind of figured that out. It's the second one after the Star Trek movie. But this author has wrote many books, like I was saying, including some of the Transformers, a couple Star Wars books, and also Aliens. So yeah.
He likes doing movie books.
Yes, he does. Which is really cool. But yes, that is all for my anime and my book news. Some exciting things going on in the nerd geek world today.
So, this week we will be having our review for Star Trek Into Darkness.
Yay!
As well as we were actually going to get Sarah's book review for Great Gatsby up. We weren't able to get it up last week because things just got a little bit too busy. We apologize, but this week, and if it's not done this week, blame her.
It'll definitely be done this week. And then, for future book news, I will be doing reviews on The Ranger's Apprentice. Finally going to be getting those up and stuff. It's a very exciting book series, which you'll have to stay tuned for.
So, that was our video. If you liked the video, please feel free to subscribe up there. Or there's a box up there, and that's the mystery box. Woo! I don't even know what's going to be in it yet.
We don't.
But it's going to be a thing. So,
it's a thing.
Future me, make sure to find a video to put it in this so that people in their present can see what we did in the past.
Oh my gosh, that was so confusing. Alrighty, so that's the Utopia of Nerd News. We'll see you next weekend.
See ya.